What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cinema Trip Reviews. I am Wyatt, joined by Alex once again, and you know what that means. It's Friday the 13th. We're doing another Friday the 13th review. We've been doing them in kind of doubles because they all kind of follow the same formula, but now we're getting to the point of the franchise, the back half, where things are starting to get a little weird. You're going away from the typical Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees formula, and that is starting off with Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Came out in 1993. Probably one of the most, not only forgettable Friday the 13th movies, but probably one of the most forgettable movies of all time.
Oh, this screams movie that was a different movie, and I didn't do any research. I'm sure you did some. This screams that
Yeah.
it was written. This had to have been a different movie before it became a Friday movie.
Dude, the backstory behind, like, everything behind the scenes is way more fascinating than the actual movie itself.
It's gotta be. The whole time I'm watching I've seen this one before, but
Okay.
it's been a while. It's probably been since I was a teenager. So we're talking, 15, 20 years at that point. And I was like, oh man, this is rough. This is a rough watch.
Yeah. That was gonna be my first question, was like what your history was with it. 'Cause I feel like even people that are kind of familiar with the Friday the 13th franchise, they either don't know about this movie or have never seen it. And
Yeah.
that's probably for good reason. I did, like, last time I watched this was probably when I was real young, because after watching it a couple times when I was younger, I was like, "Yeah, this movie sucks." Like, I'm not gonna watch this ever again, and I really haven't. I've tried to stay away from it as much as possible.
I think I've just known of this movie in my knowledge, and you're a big movie buff too. Just I knew this was the first time Freddy Krueger showed up, and I knew it was a big deal back then. We're a little more
Yeah.
used to crossovers now in this modern age, but and not to bear lead, but that's the big wow of this movie. That's
Yeah.
kind of how I knew this movie existed. Probably why I watched the beginning too. Oh, I got to see that.
I mean, it's literally the most memorable part of the movie, and it lasts, like, 3 seconds, and it's at the very end of the movie.
Very end.
Just looking at it, when I was younger, like, going to the, like, Suncoast or, like, any of these movie stores or Blockbuster or just rental stores or whatever, you would see it, and it has such a cool cover, like the metal mask with the weird, like, alien. You see it here. And I mean, the title, just Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. It sounds cool as hell. Like, if you've never seen it before, don't really know anything about it, it sounds like it's gonna be the most cool, like the coolest movie of all time, with Jason
Yeah,
Voorhees. Sounds like he's like in hell. He's gonna be killing demons or something. Who knows?
that
That
would
was my
that
thought going into
would
it.
be cooler.
Not even close. Not even close. This is the first movie in under New Line Cinemas. New Line actually bought the rights to Friday the 13th right after Part 8. So it's very weird that the first move, as soon as they get the rights, is like, yeah, we're gonna make a movie that barely has Jason in it.
Yeah. Let's get rid of him right now. And actually, the part with Jason, the very beginning, probably the best part, in the
It's one that I
movie.
always remember, just because of
Yeah.
how, like, absurd it
Because it
is,
just
like, by
hits
the
the
end of it.
ground running.
It really does. And it was directed by Adam Marcus, who, it seems like they just picked up off the damn street because he was a fan. He was 23 years old when he directed this movie, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And not only that, apparently he made about every single mistake that you can make as a first time director. I'm not sure how much you know about, like, filmmaking and such, but every time they're done making, like, filming different scenes before they move locations, whatever, they check these things called dailies, which is they just go through all of the stuff they shot to make sure they got, like, the perfect shots that they wanted. Nothing's messed up. And most of the time, the director and other people are watching these dailies in between filming to make sure they got everything correctly. Well, nobody was watching these dailies except for the editor. And by the time that they thought they were done with it, there was only about 45 to 50 minutes of actual usable footage of the movie. So Sean S. Cunningham, who's the original director slash creator of Friday the 13th, who also produced this, he actually had to go back and do reshoots of it. And not just because there was unusable footage, but I guess the director, Adam Marcus, had some beef with some of the actresses in the movie, and that got heated. So, like, they couldn't even be near each other. So Sean Cunningham had to come in and direct some of the scenes, and they had to use, like, other footage that, just was lying around to kind of fill in some time. And because of them having all this unused footage, there was a lot of stuff that was cut out as far as, like, story beats and such like that. So that's why watching this movie, you don't really get a feel of any of the characters
Oh,
in
it's
it
so disjointed.
whatsoever.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's so
to the next, to the
disjointed.
next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah, you don't really know who any of these characters are. They're not really introduced properly. You have a ton of the same kind of exposition throughout the whole movie about what's going on. It just keeps being repeated multiple times. Yeah, it was a mess. Apparently, not only just the movie itself, but the making of a movie was such a mess.
I think it's
Uh,
crazy that Sean Cunningham even like tied himself to it. Like, and I know like when he made the original Friday 13th, it was like I just want to make a cheap like slasher film, you know? Like I get
yeah,
that, but like at this point in Jason, like this is a successful franchise. So I'm surprised he watched this and was like, yeah, yeah, I'll fix it, you know? Like he didn't see it and was
yeah.
like, oh, no, I got to get out of that. I can't
Well,
do
yeah, I
that.
mean, at this point, Sean Cunningham, he roasts it any chance that he gets. He
Yeah.
calls it a terrible movie. He says it was a terrible move by having Adam Marcus come in and direct it, even though he didn't really have any other experience previously. And I mean, it says a lot about the director because like I looked him up on IMDb, and the thing he's most known for is this movie. So that tells you a lot.
Yeah,
It's
he's
his
a
number one most known for thing on IMDb because he only directed like 6 or 7 other things, and they're all straight to video or B movie schlock type stuff. So he didn't
that should
really
have
do
been.
too much after this. From what I understand, there was a comic book that was supposed to bridge the gap between part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, and this movie to kind of tell the story about how Jason gets back to Crystal Lake and what happens in between there, and how the FBI even like gets on Jason's trail to set up this sting at the
Yeah,
beginning of the
it just
movie and such.
happens.
Yeah, and instead of kind of buying into that and playing off of that, Sean Cunningham, and I didn't even know this. This kind of blew my mind. Him and Adam Marcus made this movie as a direct continuation of the first movie, with ignoring every sequel except for the first one, which makes absolutely zero sense
Is this the
because he
first
has the
Legacy
hockey
sequel?
mask. Yeah, this is supposed to be the next movie
First
after the
Legacy
original.
sequel. This might be the first Legacy sequel then, you know?
Maybe
Like the first one, they're just like, nah, screw all that.
just with none of the returning characters out of the original movie whatsoever.
And like you said, he's got the hockey mask, so that didn't happen to the third one.
Exactly, an adult Jason and everything. Yeah, it makes zero sense. And also it makes zero sense is you have Creighton Duke, who was probably one of the best characters of the movie, the one you really get to know kind of the most.
Kind of, yeah.
Um, he like even says in the movie, like, "You remember me, motherfucker?" And it's like,
No.
when did they ever have an interaction? Like, this dude was never even in the series previously. Like, what do you mean? And that was another cut part of the movie. They were going to have like some sort of flashback where Creighton Duke's like significant other, girlfriend, wife gets killed by Jason at Crystal Lake, and that's how he's just like, I'm gonna hunt this motherfucker down. I'm gonna track him and kill him. I'm gonna become a bounty hunter and such. And I don't know. It's all so messy, dude.
It's
The original title of the movie was called Friday the 13th Part 9: The Dark Heart of Jason Voorhees.
that's a little long-winded.
Very long-winded.
Yeah.
So much that they just remove even Friday the 13th from the title. It's just Jason Goes to Hell. And then
Jason.
eventually they removed even the final Friday. So it's just Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah. But just that's not a bad name. Jason Goes to Hell.
No,
That
it's
should be the
not.
subtext, though. I don't like that they dropped like Friday the 13th, and I know why because it's the New Line Cinema one now. Like
Yeah.
this is the first one. I think you said that, but this is the first one, so I get it. I don't think they own the Friday the 13th label, but
Yeah. I
let's
mean,
go.
I'm sure everybody knows that follows Friday the 13th. That ended up becoming a huge ordeal over the years. That's why we haven't gotten a new Friday the 13th movie or anything. That's actually recently been somewhat resolved. So, I mean, they're working on the Crystal Lake TV series and everything that's going to be coming out next year. Hopefully,
Yeah.
a movie down the line. It's been so long since we even had, I think it was like 2009 when the remake came out.
Dude, I
So
can't wait
it's been
till
a
we
long
get to
time.
that. That was my very first date. I'll save that for that review. But it was my very first date. It was like serious date, like going to see that movie.
Yeah, we got a couple more though, and this is the only Friday the 13th in this year, so we got to wait a while.
And we gotta wait a while. That's
They actually recently released a 4K of this movie with Jason X for I think it was Arrow Video. It's it's either Arrow Video or Shout Factory. I think it's Arrow.
I actually think this is the cover of it.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
cover of it. That's what
Yeah.
reminded me of it. Yeah, they did a 4K of this and Jason X. Why anybody would pay the money to get this on 4K, I have no clue. Because the
Hey,
only reason I
hey,
have it is because it came in the big box set I have.
I would do it for Jason X. I love Jason X. Well, we're not
Well, I
there
mean,
yet.
they're two separate releases. Like they're not
Oh,
packaged
okay.
yet. They're two separate 4Ks. But I'm saying like those are like the latest Friday the 13th releases. Is this one and then Jason X?
I might get
They
the Jason
redid in
X one. I
4K.
saw it when I was getting this picture. I saw it. I was like, oh, Jason X. Just speaking of Jason X, just like you're getting into the plot a little bit, but like this is just so out there, and it's saying something that this is the most far out there movie because he does go to space next. He
Yeah.
goes to space next, and that's way more of a conclusive plot that I like can like follow. This is
And
just
it's way
like
more fun of a movie
way
too.
more fun of a movie. This one, like, there's, and you kind of talked about it. There's no build up, and maybe the comic book, like, and I didn't read the comic book either, but like maybe
I
that
didn't
helps.
either. I didn't really do too much research into that.
Where does the worm come from? Why is he body swapping? Like none of this. We had 8 movies before this. None of it is talked about. Nothing. And
Not
like,
even like Creighton Duke. Like, yeah, this bounty hunter going around
is
just
he in
hunting
the comic
Jason.
book? He's got to be.
I don't
Right?
know.
It's got to
But I
be.
mean, even the poster, the metal mask and the worm, like those aren't even in the movie.
No, those aren't
Like
in
you
the
have
movie.
a version of the worm kind of, but not that one.
Yeah, I could see the worm, but yeah, definitely not the metal mask. What's the metal mask? And it's still on this
That doesn't
4K
come
one.
until Jason X.
Yeah,
It's a early precursor,
they
very
do.
very early foreshadowing. Because this is actually the only Friday the 13th movie that was released in the 90s. Probably for a good reason. They're like, well, after this, we got to let some time to breathe here. Um,
Really? When was the first one released?
Friday, like the first Friday the 13th.
Yeah, is that a 70s film? No, it's an
I think
80s
it was
film. Right?
1980.
Like, damn, man. Then they pumped out like one a year basically.
Yeah, dude. They released them all pretty much in the 80s.
And
Throughout the
it's
whole
like
80s.
a weird timeline to like hit. Like, all right, damn.
Yeah, because I think Jason X was 2001, 2000,
Yeah,
2001, I
that
think.
was definitely like early
And then the
2000s.
remake, Freddy versus Jason was like 2004, and then the remake was in 2009. I'm pretty sure.
And when you watch
Um,
Jason X, it's definitely
yeah.
early 2000s.
Well, I mean, Freddy versus Jason. I mean, we'll talk a lot about that once we get to it. But that was in the works even while this was being made. Like New Line was trying to get Freddy versus Jason rolling this whole
Yeah.
time. That's why you have the big thing at the end with Freddy Krueger. I mean, we'll get to that with his claws coming up and stuff. And that doesn't even happen for like another 10 years after this movie, 11 years after this movie, which is great. 2 movies and like 10 years later, they finally did it.
Again, that one has such a fun backstory too. But like
Yeah.
the difference is that movie like is watchable. I mean, it's not a great film, but like it's a
but
fun
it's
film.
fun. Yeah, it's more fun to watch than this one.
Yeah, like even if you're just dumb, like hell, that worm's more in that film. I know it's a Freddy worm, but
Yeah,
that
you're right.
worm's more in that film.
One of the main characters in the movie, Steve, who you pretty much follow through most of the movie, he was actually supposed to be Tommy Jarvis. They were going to utilize Tommy Jarvis, but because of New Line and such, they didn't have the rights to the name of Tommy Jarvis, so they couldn't really use him. Tony Todd originally auditioned for the role of Creighton Duke, which ended up going to Steve Williams instead. Which, dude, Tony Todd would have been awesome, but he would have been wasted in this movie.
Still, it would have been awesome though.
It would have been awesome, but I feel like he would have been wasted, his kind of talents. Even though Steven Williams is okay, I've only really seen him as like pretty much what he is, a character actor in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Most notably in the X-Files. He's like the Mulder's contact in the X-Files through most of the series and stuff.
Okay, all right.
And he was like a cameo. He's one of the officers in the original Blues Brothers and stuff that are chasing him around. But you have Steven, who's played by John D. Lime. Haven't seen too much of him. Pretty much anybody in this movie I haven't seen before other than Steven Williams, who plays Creighton Duke, Kane Hodder, who returns as Jason Voorhees again, and Leslie Jordan, who is like the little tiny dude that's like the cook at the restaurant. He's like he's been in a ton of like comedies and stuff and other horror movies.
None of the acting is bad though. I mean, for like,
it's not terrible. It could be worse. It could be a lot worse.
There's a really funny, and I actually wrote it in my notes. Like, there's one like exchange. It's closer to the end of the film when like the cops coming to get the main guy, and he's like, I got a gun. And he's like, fuck you, I got a gun.
I got a gun.
This is the only line that like actually made like I chuckled at it. I was like, all right, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I feel bad for that dude too, Randy, because he's like always getting his ass kicked by his buddy, and they're supposed to. It seems like they're friends. They have like a history together. Cracks him over the head to steal his gun to get out of jail, and then like that whole scene where he goes to arrest him, he's like, "Yeah, take me to jail. Jessica's there or whatever," and then he ends up hitting him over the head again to get away from him. And then he ends up getting killed eventually. It's like, this
Well, of
dude just can't
course.
catch a break.
Everybody.
So yeah, I mean, instead of like the normal kind of breakdown as far as review, I mean, we'll kind of hit certain points, but we're not going to really try to take too long with this movie
You can
because there's
explain the
really,
plot in like 14 seconds, man. It's
yeah, I
literally
mean,
they
it's the
kill Jason.
weirdest.
He
Go ahead.
swaps bodies for 50% of the movie. They have a final showdown. That's like it. Like they don't build any characters up. It's just following Jason, swapping bodies.
It
That's all
really
it
is.
is. That's all it is.
Yeah. Just kills here and there. Now, there is two versions of this movie. There's the normal, like the regular theatrical version, and there is like an unrated cut. Do you know which one you watched at all?
Whatever one is on YouTube, I paid for
Oh,
it. Like I
okay.
rented it off of
Oh,
YouTube.
okay.
So
The
like,
only real difference, because there isn't really much of a time difference, maybe a minute or two, is there's extra gore added in. They actually put in the edited out kills and stuff. So there is some added stuff in there as far as gore and violence. But as far as like content and scenes, there's really nothing added itself. It's just
was
extra gore.
and I know most of the other Jasons, which is the most fascinating part about any Friday 13th is like all like the kills they filmed that they kind of knew were going to get cut. They were like,
Yeah.
just throw them in there. So it sounds like if there was only a couple seconds, like this didn't even try to do that. It was like it played ball. New studio was like, no, play ball, because that's the best
Yeah.
part about all the original Jasons is like seeing those kills that got remastered. They look terrible, but
Yeah.
but it's cool that they're in there. The history of it's cool for movie buffs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there really isn't much like not lack of a better term continuity, but there isn't really much stuff going from any of the previous movies into this one other than Jason.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have like the whole like you don't have none of that. You do have people going through windows in this movie. They left that in there. It's a Friday 13th movie. You have to have people go through windows.
Exactly.
They didn't forget about that part. They kind of threw out the whole Friday the 13th playbook to make this, and it ended up becoming a huge mess. 'Cause, I mean, except the beginning. The beginning does feel somewhat like a Friday the 13th movie because you are at Camp Crystal Lake. You're following like this girl out by herself, going into this cabin, and the power goes out, so she decides to take a shower or whatever, and then she gets chased by Jason. And dude, even though the same composer, Harry Manfredini, who did all the previous Friday the 13th, he came back for this one, but it's easily like one of the worst scores in the whole series. It sounds like a 90s PC point and click like horror game like type music. It sounds terrible. Except for like some of the like supposedly creepy stalking type scenes, it actually uses some of like the original Friday the 13th music. But then once it gets into like the actiony type stuff where Jason's going after somebody or something happening, that's when it kicks into that terrible ass like synthy type weird score that it uses, and it sounds terrible. I hate it so much.
I don't even know if I noticed, to be honest, which is not
That's
a good
how
thing.
forgettable. Yeah.
Because like I just was like, okay, this is nothing, you know.
What do you think about the look of Jason that you barely see in this movie?
Yeah, like that part, he looks okay. Like, you know, it's Kane Hodder as Jason. That's the Jason like I think of. When I think of Jason, I think of Kane Hodder, you know?
Yeah.
So like
He just looks way more bulky than he was in like part 8 or even part 7.
Big dude.
His mask is like sunken into his face, so
like
the skin's like
face.
and his head's all bubbly and stuff. Like it looks like he's been in a sewer of nuclear waste or toxic waste like at the end of part 8.
Walk through.
So it's weird they didn't want to like somehow reference that or anything like that. But yeah, I mean it looks weird. Like I mean it's not a bad design, but it doesn't compare to like most of the other ones. Like it's better than part 6 technically. This is not even Jason really, but yeah, I mean I'm not a fan of the look really.
I mean, now that you talk about it, like
he's got like these strands of hair, like white long hair that are hanging off of him.
He's probably the worst Jason, right? I mean, again, I don't hate it, but like it probably
it's not great.
It's probably the worst Jason. Even like Baghead Jason, you know, still kind of like is intimidating. He looks like a
still
farmer.
Menacing, kind of creepy.
This guy's just like, I don't know. I do like this opening scene. I don't want to like. And they blow him, they shoot him to shit, and they blow him up, and like
he's even making noises. He's like grunting. He's like,
it's just
while he's getting shot.
Stupid scene, but like it's kind of fun, you know. It's like
she lures Jason into the trap where it's just nothing but SWAT team the whole way around and just loading them up with bullets, and then they just drop a bomb on him to blow him to smithereens.
How the hell did he not notice? Also, that would
He
have been
just
a
looks
better
up.
movie.
He's like, "Oh."
Should have been the FBI planning this whole thing, but Jason just like picking them off, slowly.
That would have been cool. And then like
a better movie.
they finally get him like at the end. Like they have like a backup plan that like
the bomb exists still. She still gets him into the bomb,
Yeah,
but not everybody else. Everybody else.
That would have been cool though. Like he figures out the plan and then he starts picking them off.
Yeah, that would have
been far more interesting.
I don't know what this movie was, but they should have stuck with the original 5 pages.
Even after they blow them up, like they're all like hype. They're like, "Yeah, we fucking did it." They're congratulating the girl, and even the camera dude is in on it because the guy looks directly at the camera. He's like, "Good shooting, guy. Like, help clean up this mess." Like even the dude that's filming like the movie is in on it. Like I don't know. I kind of like that kind of breaking of the wall a little bit.
Breaking fourth wall.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of like that a little bit, but. And that's where this is where you really start going into the weeds at this point, because Jason doesn't even show up until the last maybe 10 minutes of the movie, last 5 minutes of the movie.
Last 5 minutes of the movie, maybe.
Jason's dead, goes to the morgue, and for some reason his heart's calling out to the coroner.
Yeah, and he eats it, and maybe I missed it. Was there even like a voiceover or anything?
No. He's like staring at it like he's in a trance, and the heart starts beating or whatever. Yeah, it's like it lures him in.
Fix a movie. You could have had it like his mom talking, like Jason's mother. Like
yeah, maybe something.
Any kind of voiceover would have helped there. Like it just looks like he's like, I'm gonna try that heart. I'm gonna eat that heart.
When I was like a kid, that part used to like freak me out, dude. Like I didn't like that at all. Like him eating that gross ass heart, and it's even more disgusting in the uncut because there's just a couple, like maybe 10 seconds more, and it's like close ups of him with like the stuff all over his face, like munching on it. It looks gross as shit.
Yeah.
But it's very weird because he ate Jason's heart, Jason is inside of his body. He's possessing his soul, and even like this is. So like I don't understand how this works, but anytime he walks past like a mirror or whatever, you could still see Jason. Like he sees himself in the mirror.
It's quantum leaping.
You see Jason. But you actually have a Kane Hodder cameo, not just him playing Jason. He's one of the security guards outside the door with the mullet and everything. Calls Jason a pussy. He's like, he wasn't so tough. He's a pussy. And then they end up getting murdered. And I love how like the news broadcast is like, is Jason back? And like they found 3 people dead and 1 is missing. And they even have like pictures of the dead bodies, and it's like dead, missing. It's like I don't think they would just show the dead bodies, mutilated bodies on the news.
I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know the rules of TV anymore.
But yeah, I mean, it just goes from there where the whole story is Creighton Duke, who is like a bounty hunter. Apparently, Stephen Williams hit one of his only like requests upon playing this role is if he could dress as a cowboy, and that's why he has a cowboy hat and stuff on. It wasn't even planned for the movie. He's like, I want to dress like a cowboy if I'm a bounty hunter. So they granted his request. But he's a bounty hunter who's been hunting Jason Voorhees, but he can't kill Jason Voorhees because the only person that can is someone within his bloodline.
Yeah.
So you find out that he actually has like actual siblings. I believe it's like his half sister, or I think it's his half sister and her daughter and her daughter's daughter, which is the baby.
Hope it's on his father's side because hope it's not a Pamela Voorhees situation. Like again, no build up. Well, where did these characters come from?
Yeah, you barely get introduced to them. You barely get to know who they are, and you don't really care about them like when they inevitably die. Like the first one you meet is Diana, played by Erin Gray, who's like the waitress at the diner, and that's who Creighton Duke goes and talks to first. Like, we have to kill Jason Voorhees, but I'm not going to do it for free. Like, someone has to pay me all this money if you want to know how to kill him.
I mean, I'm mad that my wife died, but not that mad. I'm
not that mad. I still want to make some money. Guys got to eat.
And with the family thing, like Tommy Jarvis would have been a much better pick for this because I know they didn't have the rights to him, but because that kind of explains why that family lived at Crystal Lake. Because we talked about that review. We're like, why does this family live in Crystal Lake? Why are they here? That would explain it. Maybe he was Jason's
like a
dad,
loose relative or something.
Cousins, Jason's dad, whatever.
Something he didn't know about.
Yeah, like. because the dad
Or it would
dies
have just
early
made more sense that like maybe he was the one that kind of was trying to find the relatives.
on.
Like instead of this Creighton Duke guy they created out of nowhere, have Tommy Jarvis being like, "Yeah, I've been trying to kill this fucker for like 20 years, and I finally figured it out. It has to be one of his family, and I
Has to be
tracked you
something.
down. You
Yeah.
have to do it." Like it would have made that much more sense instead of just this new character.
All new
Uh,
characters. And every
all new
14
characters.
seconds, you get a new character. It's just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, Jessica, played by Carrie Keegan, she's introduced over halfway into the
Yeah.
movie, and she's supposed to be the main character, like the final girl of the movie, pretty much. And you barely know anything about her other than she's dating this like host of this TV show
Yep.
that you barely know. He just looks like Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Like that's the only time I was thinking the whole time. I was like, if they ever remade this or something, Bill Skarsgård needs to play this dude.
Bill
It looks just like
Skarsgård
him.
needs it.
The whole movie is just Jason bouncing around in between these bodies, trying to get to his family to kill them. And when you try to possess them, you have like that little worm thing coming out of their mouth and stuff. You have that very weird, like, and apparently the director even did this on purpose, is like a homoerotic scene of Jason tying that dude down naked at the house and shaving him and stuff. It is such a weird fucking scene, dude. And it looks like he's going to make out with him before he kills him. And I guess his explanation is because there's other male nudity in the movie. He thought it was Friday 13th movies previously were sexist because it's all about female nudity. So he wanted to include male nudity in this as well.
I wonder.
That's why you get a bunch of man ass and stuff throughout the movie.
Where's Nightmare on Elm Street like in their saga at this point? I guess they're pretty late in.
I think it would have been coming up on Wes Craven coming back for New Nightmare.
Because like, and I'm just joking, but like New Line Cinema, because like the second Friday the 3rd or Nightmare on Elm Street's like super like erotic, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of gay symbolism.
Like the gay Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Yeah.
So I was like, are they like a line? They're like, hey, we need to make it gayer. Like if we're gonna put Freddy in this, it needs to be just gayer. Like keep it going.
So yeah, so Freddy's Dead Final Nightmare came out in 91. Wes Craven came back for New Nightmare in 94, so a year after this.
Okay, so we're like, yeah, okay.
You know, so yeah, in between like one of the worst for Nightmare on Elm Streets, and then like kind of bringing us back to graces with Wes Craven.
Yeah.
So they were like almost back to back. You had one of the worst Nightmare on Elm Streets, and you have one of the worst Friday the 13th, like a year later, 2 years later.
That's the next fun one to do. We should do all the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Yeah.
Leading up to Jason versus.
We still got to do Halloween also at some point.
Oh, yeah, man.
But yeah, Jason is just bouncing around. There are some cool kills here and there. I mean, when Steve picks up the hitchhikers and takes them to Camp Crystal Lake, the one girl gets killed with like a scalpel. You have the other couple, and in the director's cut, this scene goes on forever where this couple is like having sex, and then like she leaves the tent to go get a condom and comes back. But this scene goes on forever. Even just the sex scene itself goes on for way too long. But what's funny about this scene is the guy and gal in the sex scene were actually a couple before the movie like was being made, and they broke up like months before, and they end up getting this part. So this broken up couple had to do a sex scene together in this movie, and it must have been the most awkward thing ever.
Nah, they had one more night right before they're like, we're here, you know. Like, why not?
But yeah, if you haven't seen the unedited one, like kill of this, I highly recommend checking out, because I would say, even though this is the one, if not probably the worst Friday the 13th of them all.
We're gonna spread.
Yeah, not even probably. It is. Even though it's the worst Friday the 13th, this is probably one of the best kills in the franchise, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because in the unedited one, you kind of get a glimpse of it in the theatrical one, but he sticks like that post through the tent into her body, and in the unedited he rips it straight up through, and her body like splits in half, dude, and blood just flies everywhere. It looks awesome. Which is, they had to cut it. I mean, you know how the MPA was at that time. But it was an awesome kill. I mean, there were some decent kills in here. They weren't anything too crazy except for this one. This one was definitely the best.
And speaking of the kills, I mean, that sounds like a cool scene. That definitely wasn't in mine, so I must have not watched the unedited version. But like the effects are not bad in this film. Like, the worm effects fine. You know, like it's a believable worm. It's a believable kills. It's just like, what are we doing? You know, and if this was any other film, this could have been Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and like it would have made way more sense. I'd have been like, okay, that I get it. You know, like it. I again wrote it in my notes. If this would have been, this is like the Halloween 3 like syndrome. Like if this would have been a different film, it would have been favored so much better, you know?
You think
Now,
so?
it could have been a good possession film. The Jason's what throws it all. Like it just doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense, you know? Like because they're shoehorning Jason so hard, it doesn't make any sense. If this was just like a fun film of like a possessed worm or whatever it might be, an alien, a demon, whatever it might be, like
Hmm.
that makes more sense to me, and I think it'd have been a better film. We've talked about Halloween 3 a lot. Like I do like Halloween 3, but it's the same syndrome of like why am I watching this? Where's Mike Myers? This is the opposite. It's like
Yeah.
get Jason out of this. Like why is Jason in this? You know, like he doesn't need to be here.
Yeah, I mean, speaking on the effects for a minute, the effects actually are some of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah,
Just
the
like
effects
either
are
the
fine.
kills or just the practical stuff they did, and that was due to Robert Kurtzman and Greg Nicotero, who are pretty famous special effects artists. They worked on a ton of stuff. I mean, the one that really sticks out to me is the when Jason uses the cop's body to possess another dude, and you get to find out what happens to the bodies that he leaves, and his body just like starts melting on
Yeah,
itself and his skin's dripping and stuff. It looks super fucking cool,
yeah.
but it doesn't feel like a Friday the 13th or Jason movie or
No.
anything.
We're in Evil Dead territory at that point. You know, like
Exactly. I
yeah,
mean, good segue, by the way,
yeah.
because is this a technical like Evil Dead canon movie? Because you have the
You the
Necronomicon.
rom-com.
It
Yep.
shows right up at the Voorhees house. It's right
Yep.
there. And I guess through the commentary, they wanted to do more with this in a way. They wanted to allude that Pamela Voorhees found or kind of found access to get the Necronomicon to try to bring Jason back after he drowned. And by using the Necronomicon, that's what kind of made Jason evil when he came back, and that's why
Yeah.
he's kind of like a Deadite, just more evil. He just doesn't talk or anything.
Yeah. Makes sense. Does New Line own Evil Dead?
No, I don't believe so.
Why didn't they do that? I'm gonna say that would have been a much better. And again, like Freddy versus Jason, cool crossover. But like that makes more sense in the storyline of all this. You know, you explain
Especially
Jason
given that they wanted to do Freddy versus Jason versus
versus
Ash
Ash.
at
Yeah,
one
yeah,
point. Yeah,
yeah.
like
I think there
that
is a
would have been a
comic book of
perfect.
that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, they
Yeah,
did one of those, and Bruce Campbell was one of the ones pushing for it the whole time, and that he wanted to do Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. But then it came down to the question where he's like, "Well, yeah, well, how am I going to end up killing these two guys?" And they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he's like,
yeah.
"Well, Ash isn't going to die. He's going to be the hero. He's going to kill Freddy and Jason." We're like, "Oh, never mind. We'll put this on the back burner." Whoa. Bruce Campbell said they never got a call back after that meeting.
It's like, wow, it's got to be creators' egos. Like, who can't? Like, of course he kills them. Like that's like the
I mean, they
thing.
die
They're the
every
bad guy.
movie. So what
Who
makes
cares?
why does
Yeah,
it
they'll
make a
come back.
difference?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He just has to win, even if he doesn't kill them. I mean, it's the Friday or Jason versus Freddy syndrome. Like, oh, did he win? Like, who
Yeah.
cares? You know,
I mean, that's
like,
why that movie, I mean, we'll get to that down the road, but that's why the movie ends that way with
yeah, because
Freddy
nobody could.
like
Yeah,
winking at the camera because nobody can technically die. They didn't want either of them to technically win or
and who?
lose.
Yeah, and that's like,
What's
it's
the
the
point of making the fucking movie then?
it's fucking comic book movies now. Who cares? Like nobody's dead. Nobody's dead. You can just do it again. You know, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Nobody's
exactly.
watching these movies. We're at the ninth Friday the 13th. Nobody's watching these movies on the 10th Friday the 13th. Ah, Ash killed him. This is it. Like he can't come back. Like we're all like, yeah, of course there'll be an 11th. He's coming back.
Yeah.
You know, like of
They'll
course.
reboot it, they'll do something with it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you could
crazy.
even make it its own separate thing. Like, it doesn't have to be connected to the rest of the franchises.
Yeah,
Just make Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, and
yeah.
then continue your stories on your other movies if you wanted to. It could be a standalone
I know we're
thing. Like,
not
why
alone,
not?
but we should still push for that. That should still happen. I don't care if fucking Bruce Campbell's 80 years old. I still want
He's
that.
like, I've been done with Ash for years, but just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. They wanted me to do it.
That might be the movie that pulls him
That's
back
the
in to
only
do
way
that
you're
shit.
getting them back as Ash, is if they could do with Freddy. Fuck it, bring Robert Englund back as
Yeah,
Freddy,
bring them all back.
80-year-old Robert Englund.
Kane Hodder, just old. I'll watch it. I'll be there.
They look a lot slower than they used to be back in the day.
Just CGI it. It's all CGI from there.
This was a bad idea. We shouldn't have did this.
I'll still be there. I'll buy a ticket. You got one ticket.
That's what we say it afterwards, though. Is like, oh, this was a bad idea. We shouldn't have did this.
Yeah.
We've gone too
close to the
far.
sun. We've got too close to the sun.
Yeah. This should have happened 30 years ago, not now. Like I mentioned at the beginning here, is like this movie is so forgettable because you don't sit on any of these characters for very long. They don't really have much of a personality. You don't really get to know any of these characters. So it means nothing when anything happens to them.
Yeah,
And you're swapping back between these characters so often that you don't really care. I mean, even Creighton Duke, he's kind of the one you know the most in the movie, but you still don't really care much because he doesn't really have an effect on the story overall, other than just providing the exposition of how you got to kill Jason. Like
yeah,
you have to have a family member use this dagger, which looks like the Kandarian dagger from Evil Dead,
definitely does.
and they have to stab him through the heart. But if somehow he ends up killing one of the family members, he can use his demon worm thing to go inside their body and be reborn. I'm not sure how they turn exactly into Jason, even with the hockey mask. Still.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And even a dead one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because like at the end, whenever the poor dude, the cop, ends up getting killed, you see the demon come out of his neck and stuff, and then it goes into the body
Basement.
of Diana, who's in the basement. It just like goes right up between her legs,
Yeah.
right up her
Evil
snatch.
Dead. Evil Dead.
Yeah, yeah,
There's more
very
Evil
Evil
Dead.
Dead-ish. And then somehow her body turns into Jason with his coveralls and his mask, and
Mask.
just busts up through the floor. Like, how does that even happen?
They can't explain it. They don't want to explain it because it's dumb. Because it's
Yeah,
dumb.
and the whole final fight is just Jason throwing Steve around. Just that.
Yep.
That's it. Just him
The
throwing Steve and
missing-
Steve
the
climbing through
missing-
that jungle gym.
Listen, and you especially, and I've been more of a hater on this series than you, and not that I dislike the series, but like none of the characters in this whole entire series are memorable. Like they're all stereotypes, but this is like the worst offender where like you don't care about anything and anybody. You don't even know. I don't even know
Yeah.
half their names. Like
Yeah.
when we talk about even like the weaker ones where like it's not really Jason, he's at that insane asylum, like at least I remember the dude in the
Yeah.
van and stuff, like
Yeah, the kid, the curly head dude with the candy bar,
yeah, like
gets
I
killed with the axe.
remember these people is
Shelly from
stereotypical as
part
they
3,
were.
the annoying dude, and
Yeah.
everything. Like there's even though they're like characters you may not like, you still remember them in some
Yeah.
capacity. You know.
They're characters, but they're like at least this is just like I couldn't tell you. I'm glad you looked it up. If you would have sat me down and asked me one character's name in this, I couldn't have told you one. Not one.
I would have been
Not
able to tell you Creighton Duke. That's the
couldn't
only one I actually knew from the
one. I
movie.
couldn't even have told you that guy. I said the
And then
bounty
just
hunter. Like
Steve,
bounty
the
hunter guy.
main dude, and insert the Jack Black. I am Steve. My name is Steve.
My name is Steve. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was watching this, I don't even remember Steve being introduced. Like he was just kind of there, and I was like,
He's
oh,
just
okay.
there.
I
Yeah,
was just like, okay, like I'm following this guy now. But like, I don't remember like his character introduction, like who this man was in
Yeah,
premise.
they don't.
Like they might not.
they,
Yeah,
they barely do it for anybody because you're just guessing. Like, wait, this person? Wait, he's actually he's not with this Diane. Like that's this lady's mom, and he's with this other lady, and the baby is
So
his.
bad.
Like none
so
of this
bad.
information is explained to you. You're just guessing through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's so bad. And like again, I mean, you said they didn't watch it, just the editor, but like nobody picked up. Like bad movies like this baffle me, where I'm like, nobody watched this and was like, no, you know.
Are you
like,
telling me, even as a 23-year-old, even though it's his first time directing, he didn't look at this and like, yeah, this is bad.
This is
we
bad,
need to do this.
you
We got to
know?
do something different with this.
They gotta shelf it. Warner Brothers is shelfing movies all the time now, you know. Like they just shelf
Right? Just
Batgirl
uses
and
tax write-off. I heard Warner Brothers does that all the time.
yeah, just shelf it at that point, you know. Like Jason's legacy would be so much better without this film. Like it
I
brings.
mean, I understand maybe
down.
why they didn't, because New Line like bought the rights, and they're like, well, we got to release on Friday the 13th if we bought the rights. We don't want to waste this money. But yeah, I mean, technically it made money, to be honest. I mean, as
yeah.
bad as the movie is, I think from what I understand, I believe it was made for $3 million, which is not a lot of money whatsoever.
Not for a movie, no.
It ended up making about $15 million. So it
All
made somewhat decent money. It actually outgrossed the last one, Part 8, which is crazy.
Which still isn't that
and
great of a movie. But.
I'm sure it's based solely off the name of the movie, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, and the poster itself. I'm sure that got a lot of butts in the seats, and just being
Also,
a Friday the 13th movie.
It seems like the biggest gap so far. Like this might have been like the comeback
what
of
was
it.
the
Because you said the rest of them were like 80, 81, 82. Like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
Manhattan was in 89, so 4 years.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be the biggest gap. That's
Yeah.
got to be. I mean, that just
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense. Um,
And well, there is a bigger gap now,
yeah,
but
yeah,
at the
yeah. But
biggest gap
at
at
the
that
time,
time,
yeah, at
yeah.
the time, like people haven't seen Jason in 4 years at that point.
Yeah.
So
And then
that's
they
got
didn't see Jason again for another like 10 years, 8 years, 10 years.
that's because it's two duds back to back. And again, Jason Takes Manhattan isn't like the worst movie of all time, but like it's a
It
dud
looks
also.
great compared to this one.
Yeah, we're talking about them. We're eating both these apples. This one's a worse apple, but like
Yeah, it
they're both
really
not
is.
great movies. Again, and I'm not like a huge. We talked about it a bunch of times. Like I'm not a huge Friday the 13th fan, but like this is like a 1 out of 10 movie. This is a bad movie.
Oh
Like
yeah, it's terrible.
could not recommend it to anybody. Wouldn't even like. No, I'm good. Skip it. Like skip it. Give me
No.
a no.
I mean, there wouldn't have been a lot that would have been able to save it unless they really like did a lot of like rewriting while they were filming it.
There's
Um,
nothing for it.
I don't even think if you would have like had Jason there instead of him possessing people, I don't think that would have made it much better either. If it was just Jason instead of the possessed people, it would have still
Yeah,
felt because the characters didn't have anything in the movie. Like there was no
yeah.
development by any of these characters, so it would have been just like felt like a hollow Friday the 13th with just Jason in it.
We've had those though, and those are better. I mean, those are better. But I'm with you. I mean, I mean, we already talked about. I
I
couldn't
mean, it
name.
would have been cooler with Jason because you're going to different locations he's never been in
Yeah,
in this movie, like the police station or that diner and stuff. It would have been cool to see Jason in some of these other locations instead of just Camp Crystal Lake or
no.
the one time he goes to Canada or Manhattan.
He also just never. And again, even if you were to, he never really acts like Jason, other than when he is
No.
Jason. But like when he's, and I get it, he's possessing people, but like he doesn't act like he acts like a person, like a possessed person. Like he doesn't act like
Yeah.
Jason. Like
He even
again,
talks at the one point when he
talks.
possesses
Yeah,
the cop towards the end of
yeah.
the movie. He talks.
It's like what? Like then he transforms into altered mid like the regular Jason. And he's like, okay, now I can't talk. Now I can't trick
Yep.
people. And
Can't
now
do it now.
because he tries to trick her as the cop, right? Like he like
Yeah.
tries to make it
Because
like he's
it's
not
played
possessed.
off to make it look like the other cop is the
Is
possessed one.
yeah, like what? It's not a Jason movie. It's been a fine possession movie. It's not a Jason movie.
Yeah, and I don't even think you needed the baby in there either.
No,
Like that baby served zero purpose throughout this movie. Like you
zero.
could have just had him
Just
trying
had
to get to
her.
Jessica, and
Yeah,
Jessica was the one that had to kill him. Like
yeah.
there was no reason to even have a baby in there.
People care about babies. I don't know, man. Maybe.
I don't know.
Anybody who is watching this, like, we're stretching for compliments. Like,
Oh, there's not much. Not many compliments you can give this movie other than just the effects are decent,
and
and
Freddy
that Kane
Krueger's in
Hodder
the
is
end.
there. He had a
And
job
Freddy
being
Krueger's in
Jason
the
again.
end, which is
Yeah,
cool.
which is actually Kane Hodder. It's Kane Hodder with the
Is it
glove
his
on.
hand? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
and his
Yeah.
in the Freddy sweater and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end, you have him throwing around Steven and stuff for a while until Jessica gets the dagger from the basement and goes out and stabs Jason, and you have those big demon hands coming out and
There's
pulling
like a
him.
little demon on his back too. Like,
Yeah, a little demon there pulling him down into the sand or whatever.
yeah, she kicks it
Yeah,
in him.
yeah, she like drop kicks the dagger into his chest,
Yeah,
and you have those weird beams of light like leaving his body and stuff. I
yeah,
don't know.
like a Jedi.
Uh, I
Uh,
guess,
uh.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, at the end you have his mask laying there, which he got pulled under, but his mask is still up at the top, even though it's like sunk into his face. I don't know how that works, but
Popped off.
it popped off. Yeah, Freddy comes up and grabs his and you even have like the Freddy laugh a little bit. I mean, you could tell it's not Freddy Krueger, but
Yeah, but
not
it was there.
Robert Englund, but yeah,
That and out of all the trash we talked, that had to have been. And obviously, I was way too young when this movie. Would you say this came out in 92, 91,
93.
93? I was born. Like,
Yeah,
like
this literally came out 3 days before my birthday. It came out August
yeah.
13th, 1993. It came out 3 days before my birthday.
So I was a few months old. Like, obviously, I missed it, but like that had to have been cool, you know. And we kind of talked about in the beginning where it's like there was nothing like that. So like to see that for the first time would probably be my only like. If you could go back in time and watch this movie, it would be kind of cool to see that. Today,
Mhm.
worthless because we know the end. We know a much better movie is there.
Yeah.
But like to just see that, to just have that on the tip of your tongue as 15-year-old
That might have been a
Alex,
little worth it.
That might
Yeah,
have been
like,
a
I
little
can
late.
imagine going to see this, like, when it came out in theaters, and you had to sit through this movie, you're like, "Man, this is fucking trash."
Yeah,
And then
and
that
see,
last scene with Freddy Krueger, and you're like, "Oh my god, that just blew my mind. What are they actually gonna have Freddy versus Jason now?"
exactly, man. Like you gotta
And then you have
think
to wait
like
11 years to get
yeah,
the movie.
like we have Marvel and stuff now that there's like all this crossover, but like
Yeah.
this was like the first like two major horror franchises like coming together. I know it's not the first crossover movie. Like
Yeah.
obviously Abbott
It was
Stella, blah blah
huge.
blah. Yeah, like but this is like two different worlds colliding. Like that would have been cool.
Yeah.
That's my compliment for this movie. It would have
Something
been
nobody thought was possible. I mean,
yeah,
Nightmare on Elm Street was owned by New Line at that
yeah.
time, so as soon as they bought the rights, they're like, "Oh, yeah, they can make it happen now," and then for some reason, they just didn't because there was just a lot of red tape they had to go through and just planning. Apparently, there were so many years of just rewrites and stuff trying to get the story right, and they still kind of
It seems like they kind of shot themselves in the foot, and now again we
yeah.
can look at this backwards. But like, what was the deal that like you're buying a property but not really like oh you can use Jason but not Friday the 13th. Like it just seems like a weird deal that happened. And I know like
Yeah,
Marvel
that was the
and
whole
Sony
right
did
thing over, like, since the remake came out, that was the whole thing because, I forget the other dude. It was Sean Cunningham who, like, directed the original and came up with a lot of the stuff, and I hate to I hate to be blanking on the other dude's name, but
it. He made
there was
Jason.
another dude there was another dude that wrote the actual script itself,
Okay.
and both of them owned certain rights to certain things. Like, one of them may have owned the Friday the 13th name and Camp Crystal Lake and stuff, and then the other dude actually had, like, the rights to the Jason Voorhees name and, like, the hockey mask and stuff. So it's like it was such a mix up because, like, if they wanted to make a movie, they could use only certain things, and
See
if the
that
other wanted to
seems
make a movie, they could only use certain things too. So
seems like such a
they were
bad deal on New Lines though to like sign
yeah.
that contract. Like yeah,
Well, I'm not
like
sure if those issues were like at
relevant
that
then.
point in time. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the issue. I understand the whole Tommy Jarvis and stuff maybe because that was owned by Paramount at that
And
time.
Friday the 13th too, because they couldn't do the Friday the 13th yet.
Yeah, true, because it was Jason Goes to Hell and
Yeah,
then Jason X technically, and then Freddy
yeah.
versus Jason. Yeah, you're
So
right.
so there had to been like even back then, like, oh, we can't use
Yeah,
this. So did they
yeah.
like
M
just
or
buy
maybe they
a
were like
character?
yeah.
That'd be an interesting thing to
Or
look at.
maybe
Maybe
the
we'll look into
whole
that.
Marvel Sony type thing where they had, like, an agreement to use, like,
Yeah.
a couple certain things here and there, you know?
I don't know. It just is
I
like
don't know.
it's such
It's
a
just as messy as this movie itself.
yeah. I don't know if it'd been better if they could call it Friday the 13th. I don't think it'd have been
No.
any better.
No, I mean, you said it before, but I don't know if this movie would have been any better if it wasn't a Friday the 13th or a Jason movie.
Yeah. I disagree there, but and that's fine. But like, I do feel like it would be like a could be kind of like a Night of the Demon because the effects are cool, you know. Like
Yeah.
when I watch Night of the
That's really
Demon,
the only thing cool about it.
like Night of the Demons is kind of like a bleh movie too, but like the effects are cool and like it's cool to like follow these people, you know. So I guess Night of
Yeah.
the Demons has much better characters, but there's tons of
Oh,
movies
yeah,
I
so
watch.
much more memorable characters
Yeah,
in Night of
there's
the
tons of movies I
Demons.
watch that are just like it's just cool effects, you know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like the Jason really brings this one down. It's because I
Yeah,
compare it to
definitely.
all the rest.
It
Like
was
I don't
funny
know.
because Annette never saw this one. She saw most of the other Friday the 13th, but she's never seen this one. So, like, right after that opening scene with, Jason getting blown up and going to the credits and stuff, I told her, I was like, yeah, this isn't one of the good ones. I was like, if you haven't known just already, this is not one of the good ones.
My wife too, and she watches these movies with me, but like she was checked out 25 minutes into this movie.
Oh, yeah, like,
She was
Annette was on
checked
her
out.
computer playing games and stuff while in the middle of them, like, she was checked out at a
Yeah,
certain point. And to be honest, if I didn't have to watch it for this review, I probably would have been
I
checked
would have
out
been
too.
checked out too. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was times I caught myself on my phone. I was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah,
I
I
should
had
be
to
paying
force
attention to this
myself
movie."
to watch this movie.
You got me there too, because I was
And
like,
I
"Oh
was actually like before because it's been so long since I've seen it, I was like, maybe I'll look at it a different light. Like maybe I'm kind of misremembering it in a way. Maybe there'll be certain things I like. Nope.
nope."
About 20 minutes, half hour in this movie, I'm like, yeah, this is worse than I remember.
I'm the more excited about it because I know what's coming next, and I'm excited for
Oh
what
yeah.
comes next. So like, this is like
Yeah.
the speed bump to get out of the way.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not even like a huge Jason X fan, and
No.
I'm excited to talk about that one compared to this.
I think I've been telling everybody how excited I am talking about Jason X
Pretty
this
much
entire
almost
review.
every review we've
I
done, you're like,
love
I can't
Jason X.
wait, Jason
Can't
X.
wait for Jason X. It's my favorite.
And
It's
of
my
course,
favorite.
there's not even another Friday the 13th this year, so you have to
I
wait a
know.
year
I gotta wait a
to
whole
even
year
get to
for it.
Jason X.
That's a shame. That's a shame, man. I'm glad we're switching to this format though,
It's in
because
February, so it's not
yeah,
too much longer of a
yeah,
wait.
yeah.
February 13th.
8 months.
In 2026. Yeah, that'll be Jason X
Yeah.
for those who are mark it down in your calendar. Our Jason X episode will be out February 13th,
Get through this episode,
2026.
guys. But this actually, because that one I can talk about. That one I think is fun. I think there's tons of stuff to talk about. Like
I
this
mean, this
one,
one's just it's the most forgettable. I even have notes and I forget about what
I
happened in
have
this
notes
movie, and
too, dude. Like
I don't even really want to go like that's why I didn't want to break the movie down because it's not even worth breaking it down
we
because
did.
it's so
Your
forgettable.
breakdown was more interesting than the movie.
We went through the basic plot because that's all it is. So I mean, it is. Is there anything else you want to talk about as far as Jason Goes to Hell? This is
No,
kind of one of our shortest reviews.
it's bad, man. It's a bad film. It's a
Yeah,
bad
it
film.
really is.
Like I'm a movie buff. I like movies. I'll watch bad films and find like good in them.
Yeah,
Like this is a bad film. This is just not a good film. Like I will never, unless forced to, watch this again. I will never pick this off the shelf again. Not once.
the exact same for me, man.
Yeah.
Anybody who's followed the channel for a while and watch my reviews, I don't like to actually like actively go out and shit on movies. I like to, like you said, I like to go out and find good things about even bad movies. I like to find good things
It's a
about.
craft. It's an art, and I get it. Sometimes shit just
Yeah.
doesn't land.
Yeah, and there's just some stuff that I like doesn't resonate with me or I don't like, but I can appreciate it for doing what they're doing.
Sure.
But this movie, I can't really say anything good about other than the effects. It's just a terrible movie
Again,
all around.
we're about to talk about it literally next Friday the 13th review. Like I know you don't love Jason X, and I do because it resonates with me more. But like that's what I'm saying. Like I know Jason X isn't a great film, but like
Yeah,
there's
it
things
leans into what it wants to be, though.
exactly.
It doesn't take itself too seriously.
It's
It
at least
knows
a
what it
Jason
is.
movie. It's at least a Jason movie.
Exactly.
Like, Jason's
It feels
in
like a Jason movie just in space.
This is like a crazy plot, ridiculous. Somehow less crazy than this. I know we already made that joke, but somehow way less
Yeah.
crazy than this. But like, at least it's a Jason movie.
Yeah.
And I know you said some of the kills are okay in this, but like, other than that post sign kill, most of them are just like him spitting a worm at people.
Oh
like,
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cutaways. Most
a
of
lot
them.
of cutaways. Most of them are kind of boring. Like,
Yeah.
he's just throwing that dude around. I don't know.
If you're gonna watch this, if you're absolutely gonna watch this for some reason, watch the unrated director's cut or whatever it's called, the unrated version, because at least you'll get some enjoyment out of the kills in it. Because that's the only good thing about it.
Or build a time machine and go back like 30 years and watch it when it came out. Because I think that
watch it before none of the other movies came out after it, so you can you don't have anything to compare it to after that. You can't get any worse than this, right?
Listen, this is the bottom of the barrel, and it doesn't super go up from here. Like
it does go up,
it
just
goes
not
up.
very far.
Yeah,
this is the worst of them all.
We're past the peak. We're at the valley. We're at the very bottom. But like, we're not coming into like fantastic film anymore.
No, not by any means.
If you go back and watch our original Friday the 13th, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it still is a great film. Like I get why people like it. I see the art in it. Like I see the grindhousey, the cheapness. Like I like it. I get that. It's just not for me,
Same.
Like so this is rough. We're at the valley, man.
Yeah, and I mean this may be a not needed question, but I kind of have to do it because we do it in every review. But is this a buy it, a rent it, or a miss it, Alex?
This is a miss. This is the biggest miss it that I've ever done with you.
Yeah. We don't give too many miss its here on the channel, but this is absolutely 100% a miss it. Don't watch this movie, man.
No, there's nothing worth it. Not even the good things we've brought about. There's nothing
The
worth
only
this
reason you would ever have to watch this movie is if you're creating content and making a review for it, or if you've never seen any of the movies and you're going through like a full watch. Maybe I wouldn't even say that.
I don't think you're watching all of them from start to finish.
You want to be a completionist.
Miss this one. Yeah. This is like glutton for punishment kind of stuff. Like
Yeah,
the Jason
exactly.
franchise will be better if you skip this and just go straight to Jason X. It makes just as much sense. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter, you know. Like
This is
it,
not a so bad it's good type situation. No, this is just bad.
it's just bad. Yep. This isn't the birds. This is none of that. Like this is a bad film. This is an almost unwatchable film. Like
Oh yeah, 100%.
and again, like I've seen bad films. I've seen like Thanksgiving and stuff like that. And even that I like a little bit more than this. It's almost purposely bad. This isn't purposely bad. It's just
No,
bad. It's
it's
just
just
bad.
bad.
You know. Didn't like it, Wyatt. Didn't like it. Not happy to be here. I'm just kidding. Always happy
I
to
didn't like
be
it
here.
either, man. So we were in the same boat. Me and you were both hate watching it. Can't. How much time do I have left on this movie?
This is taking too long. You just suffer 15 more seconds than me, you said.
Well, I didn't really. I mean, because most of them were like added in kill stuff, so
Yeah.
I got at least a little bit more enjoyment out of it, maybe than you did.
Maybe. I don't
Like
know. It
maybe
seems like
30
you had,
seconds of enjoyment more than you
seems like you had
did.
to sit through the movie a little longer than me. I got to back it up just 30 seconds quicker than you.
But yeah, I mean that's Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, and it's crazy. That there's two movies in this franchise called like the Final Chapter and the Final Friday, and they still have more movies.
I hope they keep going. I hope they rename the rest of them the Final Friday.
Every Friday the 13th, they come out like this is the last one.
This is the last
They tempted like this is the last one. I promise.
Even if, man, don't let me ramble, but we just talked about how like they didn't want to kill him with Ash and all that stuff, like an Evil Dead thing. You've
Yeah.
already had a Final Friday. You have already proved that it doesn't matter. They'll come back. They'll come back and watch another one.
Yeah,
Like this is the
people will
second
be
one.
there.
We'll be there. If a Friday the 13th movie got announced tomorrow, I'll go see it.
And I
will be
promise
there.
you, I promise you, people do not care
Do
that
not care.
Jason or Freddy dies
No.
because they die in every single other movie,
Yeah.
and people know they're gonna come back in some capacity at some point.
If this series got like rebooted and it was a continuation off of Freddy versus Jason, I would still watch it. I don't need it to be rebooted. I don't like it could be a continuation off of this one, and I'd probably still go watch it, you know?
I mean,
Like
I would say the same about Halloween too. If they, for some reason, I don't know why, made a sequel to like Halloween Resurrection, continuing off the original continuity, I'm there. I don't care. I'm gonna watch it.
I'm not there because of I'm there because of Michael Myers. I'm there because of
Yeah.
Jason. I'm there because of Ash. I'm there because of the Deadites. I'm there because of Freddy. Like, I don't care what's going on, you know? Just
Exactly.
explain it well. That's what this movie missed.
Yeah, at least
Just
give me
explain it well.
at least a competent constructed movie around what I came to see.
Yeah. If it's going to be
That's all I
Freddy Krueger,
ask.
don't make him not be in dreams. If it's going to be Jason, don't make him a worm jumping between people because you've never set that up. I don't know what
Yeah.
that is. Like,
What
it
is
isn't
going
a thing.
on?
It isn't a thing for me.
Jason has family? I don't know what's going
I don't
on.
get this anymore.
He wants to kill his family? Is he Michael Myers now? What's happening?
Maybe they were like, oh, let's make it a Halloween thing. Even that's better. And I know people don't love when Laurie became like his sister, but like, come on, that's infinitely better. Infinitely.
Yeah.
Like all the Halloween movies are infinitely better than this. All of them. And
Yeah.
there's bad Halloween films too. This is
I would say the same thing.
this is one of the worst. I'm ranting, man. This is one of the worst, like
out of like the main horror,
like icon, like the Chuckies, the Fridays, the Leprechaun. I'd watch Leprechaun in space before I'll watch this
because because at least they know what they are and they can be fun.
It's dumb. Leprechaun Back to the Hood, dumb film. I don't care. It's kind of funny, you know.
Yeah.
Like it knows what it is. Like it's funny. Yeah.
Are they good movies? Not particularly, but like they're fun watches. At least once, where it's like this. It's like it's not even fun to watch through.
And it almost has no excuse anymore. Because now we're like getting into reboots and like and Leprechaun's a good example. Like they rebooted like the Leprechaun films, and you're like it just doesn't have the same like this. Jason was still a thing. Jason was like only 4 years removed. Now we're 12 years removed, 15, 20, whatever we are removed from a Jason property. Like it's easier now if a bad Jason film would come out for me to stomach it and be like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, in 4 years, it would be like 20 years without a Friday the 13th movie, dude. That's crazy.
And I don't see in 4 years a Friday the 13th movie coming out. I know they're working on the the TV show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, again, I'll be there. I'll watch that TV show.
And
I'll be there.
it's been 15 years since the last Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh,
So I mean,
Jesus.
we haven't even been getting anything from Jason or Freddy in quite some time, man.
Yeah, and we just had
15, almost 20 years.
had a successful reboot with Halloween. I mean, it flopped in the end, but
Yeah,
this
because they
had
did
one.
the whole trilogy.
Yeah, again,
That's why they're giving it time to breathe now. They're giving it a couple years before they actually start it up again and either make reboots or remakes or whatever.
we talked about how much we hated that film. That film's better than this film.
Halloween Ends? Oh, I would 100% rather watch Halloween Ends than this movie.
And Halloween Ends sucks dick too. I hated that film.
I didn't like it, but I would much rather watch that than this because it has a like competent story. Like there's a story there that is telling. I may not like it, but it's there.
But it's somebody's art and vision that I'm like, I don't like where this went, but like it makes sense for Michael Myers.
Somebody likes it. Somebody is like, it's for somebody, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. We do not recommend this movie.
Go watch this one. Just watch the original.
Yeah, watch pretty much most of them, other than this one. Watch any of the other Friday the 13th, just not this one. We've talked about in the other reviews. After we eventually go through Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, and the remake, we're going to eventually do a whole like ranking of all the Friday the 13th and everything. And I mean, we already said it. I mean, this will be at the bottom. This will be dead last. We'll just start at the next one because this will automatically be the bottom place.
We'll agree.
But yeah, once again, thank you, Alex, for joining the show. Talk about Friday the 13th. I got to get you back on doing some more reviews here soon. It's been a while since you've been on the channel, dude. I think the last one was the Friday 13th, 7 and 8.
I moved, so he's been trying. I've moved, and as you can see, I don't quite have a setup yet. I'm getting there though, but I appreciate it, man. I always love being on this. I always love watching the movies. I love, and you get to do it much more. I love watching a movie, knowing I get to talk about it later with somebody who watched it with me. You know, like even though we're not watching it together, like it's just like I get to like, I don't know. I love my wife and like talking to movies about her, but she doesn't like. This isn't the type of conversation we have. So I always love.
Still trying to get Annette to do one of these times, but she doesn't want to be on camera. She wants to talk about movies on the show, but she just doesn't want to be on camera.
We should get her like an AI thing that like like a creature.
Or just the voice in the background. I'll be talking to just somebody in the background or
that podcast the camera. Like the little goblin person. He's all like in makeup.
Oh, I have seen that before. Yeah,
just get her on like crazy prosthetics and stuff.
This is my wife. And it's like crazy prosthetics.
This crazy alien or something. It's cool. You know what? We'll accept it. It's fine.
But yeah, that is the show for today. This is our Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday review. As we already mentioned, the next Friday 13th is in February of 2026. Unfortunately, there's another one this year, but we will be talking about Jason X the next time, the one that you've been waiting for, Alex. So I'm sure we'll have a deep dive into that one and talk all about it. And it'll be a much more lively, exciting podcast than this one where we're just shitting on the movie the whole time.
Maybe this is their cup of tea. Some people like shitting on movies. This is a bad movie.
Hey, listen, I am sure there are people out there that like this movie or really like it for some reason. There has to be. I'm sure there is. If there are people out there that really like this, definitely leave some comments about what you like about it.
What are we missing? Yeah, just tell me what I'm missing. Like, what don't I see in this,
For everybody else, tell us what you didn't like about the movie in the comments, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of you out there.
For the 99.8% of you left, tell us.
Yeah. But yeah, that is the show for this week. As always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Cinema Trip Reviews. Also, drop in, leave us a good review wherever you get your podcast. Really helps us get the show out there to a lot more people. And this is Cinema Trip Reviews. I am Wyatt. That is Alex, and I'll see you next time.